Congressman Ron Paul, a Republican from Texas and a member of the House Financial Services Committee. Congressman, thanks for being with us. So why do you think we don't need the Fed anymore?
Well, look at the mess they've caused. They haven't done anything right in their entire existence. They inherited the dollar in 1913. Now it's worth 3 cents. So, and they've created a lot of recessions and a lot of depressions, and they finance big government. So I see no purpose for the Federal Reserve other than the mischief they charge. And it's impossible for them to do what they think they're supposed to do. They're supposed to set the interest rates. Well, how do they know what the interest rates should be? And that's why we have problems. So I would say that the people and the Congress have given them a job that is totally impossible, but instead of even limiting what they want to do, they expand their role. They want to be the chief central economic planner. It used to be said, go ahead.
Yeah, well, what I'm going to say is, Representative Paul, what's the alternative? What's another proposal?
Well, the alternative would be free markets and saving money rather than printing money, because capital comes from savings. It doesn't come from the printing press. And there was a time in history when you didn't have central banks, but for central banks to create money out of thin air and not protect the value of the currency is completely absurd. It creates financial bubbles, and it creates the crisis, the type that we're having right now.
Well, would you say that there's a lot of folks responsible for the crisis, including a lot of folks down on Wall Street, a lot of regulators? There's a lot of people who had their hands in that pot.
Well, yes, that's what they usually want to do. They want the Federal Reserve to do all these things, and they say, well, if we only have regulations, we'll compensate for all the mistakes the Fed makes. But that's impossible. It's not the lack of regulation of the government. There's the lack of the regulation that comes about in a free market. If a company gets out of whack and does things wrong, they're supposed to go bankrupt. But instead, our companies can do so many atrocious things, and the Fed comes in and says, well, we have to bail everybody out. So it does the opposite of what the market demands. The market demands liquidation of debt, get rid of the malinvestment, get back the prices to normal levels, and get the people saving money once again.
All right, but Representative Paul, if we get rid of the Fed, who's going to manage monetary policy?
Well, the market. I mean, what happened before 1913? I mean, you didn't have to have a Fed. The government was too involved even before then, but you don't have to have a manager. Why should you accept the notion that monetary policy have to be managed? That means you manage 1/2 of every transaction. That's halfway to socialism right there. Now they're taking another step forward by nationalizing the industry that have gotten into so much trouble because of the Federal Reserve. And if you believe in freedom and sound money, you don't endorse the idea of central planning through central banks.
All right, so safe to say, I mean, the president says only that government can help the economy get back on track in a crisis of this magnitude. I'm assuming you don't think that's right then, that we should just let capitalism play out here.
Well, what you want to do something. You just can't let it continue the way we're doing. So what you want to do is cut spending, because too much spending, too much borrowing, and too much inflation got us into this trouble. So you want the government to lower taxes, lower spending, and let the prices get back to normal. You don't want to stimulate housing when the prices of houses are too high and you have 19 million empty houses. So we're still down here in Washington stimulating housing. That doesn't make any sense.
Congressman Paul,
get the prices down.
I know you need to get to a vote. Just quickly about those AIG bonuses. Do you think the government should pursue legal action to get this money back? And just quickly.
Well, the legal action should be against these people who vote for this. Why should we ever give this money away? I mean, this is absurd. They say we're protecting contracts, but I'm trying to protect the contract with the taxpayers. You can't assume this is a legitimate contract when they pay out these bonuses, because the money was stolen from the American people. That's what we have to stop.
So if it needs legal action, you said should we do it? Just quickly.
Well, what we should do is get every penny back as soon as possible. So, yes, if it takes legal action to get money back from these companies that blew it, yes. But they should have. The biggest problem was this philosophy that said we should have given it to them in the first place. It's practically impossible to get the money back now. I mean, the money's blown and it's hidden. It'll never happen.
Okay.
But we have to wake up the American people and say this type of intervention should not come about. We shouldn't be involved in this kind of stuff.
All right. We know you need to get off to vote, so we're going to let you go. Congressman Ron Paul, great to get some time with you. Thank you.